The stage is set. It's the Sweet 16 of the NCAA men's soccer tournament. It is rainy Washington, D.C. on the campus of Georgetown University, where the number 3 seeded Hoyas host the Louisville Cardinals. Dan Helfrich alongside Tom Greaser. And Tom, we see the tarp covering the goal mouth, the conditions less than ideal.
Challenging conditions, but they'll be the same for both teams, and it will take a lot of mental strength to get a victory today.
The Hoyas just one blemish on the season. It came at the feet of these Cardinals. Rarely did you get the chance to avenge a midseason loss. And Tom, these Hoyas haven't defeated the Cardinal in more than 12 years.
Yeah, lone victory in 2007 for Georgetown. These two teams did play in the Big East. They overlap, but in different divisions, so not a big series history. But you talked about the one this year, Louisville, with that 1-0 victory.
And look inside the box score there, Tom. It screams even. Even in most statistical categories, Louisville actually only one of 2 teams to outshoot the Hoyas in the entire season.
Yeah, you think about this Georgetown offense, a dynamic attack, creates a lot of shots, but Louisville equal to Georgetown in that contest, and Louisville found the way to get that game winner in double overtime.
They got the winner, and they played without this man, the exciting Brazilian midfielder.
Pedro Fonseca really working his way back into fitness, started the last 2 games, both NCAA tournament games, had the game-winning goal in round 1, the game-winning assist in the second round victory for Louisville.
Similar, the Hoyas were missing the engine of their midfield in the first game, and that's Big East All-Conference performer Sean Zawadzki.
And he is the engine. It's what makes this Hoya attack click. Zawadzki covers so much ground, and with the athleticism on Louisville, Zawadzki will be key defensively.
A berth in the Final 8 is at stake here at rainy Shaw Field in Washington, D.C. Next on the Big East Digital Network. NCAA soccer coming up momentarily here at Shaw Field on the campus of Georgetown University. It is rainy, but the field has held up well.
Yeah, and the field, actually, the rain has stopped a little bit. We take a look at the starting 11 for Louisville. Huge advantage for the Cardinal. Before this NCAA tournament started, 15 days to prepare. It got their team back in full fitness.
Meanwhile, for the Hoyas without a Chara in the starting lineup today, you look at Zach Riviere. He'll be manning that right flank.
Yeah, dynamic player with a very educated left foot. And, of course, Riviere kind of made his name known with that hat trick at UCLA earlier in the season.
Take a good look at there at today's official, Mark Kadlachik. Louisville lining up 8 across. And we've had 2 false starts in swimming. They would give the possession to the other team.
Might be DQ'd.
And we are officially underway. And Sean Ahern will escort that ball out for a Louisville goal, for a Georgetown goal kick.
Such an interesting decision off of that kickoff. Louisville with a lot of athleticism, trying to put pressure on Giannis Nicopolidis in goal. Right away, they play a long ball, and Georgetown will not look to build out of the back either.
Nicopolidis, the first team All-Big East Conference performer, part of the most successful platoon in the country. He and Tomas Romero, the freshman, alternating games. And here's Fonseca on the ball early.
Yeah, the Brazilian is super talented, can play in that withdrawn striker role or out wide.
Ball squirts to Ahern. Footing so important here, Tom.
Yeah, it's footing, and it's also getting to second balls, and a lot of it is just kind of working hard in conditions like this.
Loose ball, and Montez whistled for the first foul of the game as he got into the back of Haji.
And for Louisville, you know, they having played Georgetown, they understand the attack, so they want to keep their defensive shape, be strong mentally, and then when they get their chances with their athleticism, it's executing in the final third.
There's Connor Brazil on the ball. Now the redshirt senior, Cochran. Cochran, great story, walk-on to the program, then led by Ken Lola. And Cochran dispossessed by Montez, who's in the box. Montez 1-on-1 against Cochran. He'll cut to the inside, he shoots and scores! It's Jacob Montez, an electric start! And the Hoyas take the 1-0 lead.
And what a bright start for the Hoyas as Montez, the Big East midfielder of the year, dispossesses Cochran, and then a nice touch and just a calm, collected finish into the far right post. And the Hoyas, as they did a week ago, come out firing.
And how about that, as the national college soccer audience eyes trained on Georgetown University, and Montez and the Hoyas take the early lead. A stunner. And Cochran, who we were just talking about, the redshirt senior former walk-on, does not protect the ball, and Montez takes full advantage.
And it's such a beautiful finish. Montez, we've seen him make some electric runs this year. That one was just hard work. We were talking about it, just winning a battle. He won the battle against Cochran, and then when Montez gets you one-on-one in the box, there's not much you can do as a defender.
This Georgetown team unbeaten at home this year. Georgetown's been eliminated from the NCAA tournament on home soil 5 of the last 7 years.
And including last year where Georgetown in this round had to play at Cooper Field.
Rothrock calm possession to Wu. And he'll find Nealis. Dylan Nealis, the Big East 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. And Tom, Georgetown and Louisville would have met in the Final 8 last year had Georgetown beaten Michigan State. In fact, both teams eliminated by Michigan State a year ago.
Yeah, it was a great run by Michigan State. And we talk about Georgetown, dangerous service, set pieces, and then really it's revenge. And, you know, this is the only team, Louisville, that has defeated Georgetown this year. And so the Hoyas come out firing, and led by Jacob Montez, they find that first goal.
It'll be Brazil to take the throw-in. Louisville's right back. Rothrock, nearly a souvenir for you, Tom.
Yeah, I was going to bring that one down.
There's Polvera disrupting Fonseca. Now a great ball by Zawadzki, finds Dodson. Derek, the junior captain, out wide to Paul Rothrock. Rothrock transferred from Notre Dame in the offseason. He'll go against Cochran. And then finds Zawadzki.
Louisville gets all 10 field players back behind the ball. We talked about their defensive shape there. As Georgetown looked to get down the left side, Louisville does a very good job of regaining their shape.
So Georgetown, a second-minute goal from Montez. The difference is Riviere finds a pocket of space. He'll cut to his preferred left foot, but an excellent tackle there by Massé.
And Massé from Paris, France, another transfer on this Louisville team. Good one-on-one defending because Riviere is a quick attacking player.
In case you're wondering, it was Kyo Ryosuke who scored the Louisville goal in the opener. Ryosuke starting today on the bench, but he'll see plenty of action, the Japanese senior.
Yeah, Louisville, like Georgetown does, has a lot of depth, and especially in the attacking positions.
Here's Nealis. He finds Riviere. It'll be a goal kick here in the 5th minute. And we haven't had a chance to talk about Jake Gelnovac. If that last name sounds familiar, Gelnovac, the son of current Virginia head coach George Gelnovac, and congratulations, the Cavaliers were the first team to punch their ticket to the Final 8. Convincing win over St. John's and Charlottesville, and they were joined by Southern Methodist University last evening with an exciting overtime goal. Here's Louisville on the attack. To the end line against Nealis, and Nicopolitis collects in the field of play.
Yeah, and going back to Gelnovac, of course, Louisville has to play against UVA, and there's the season statistics for Nicopolitis. You mentioned the Big East goalkeeper of the year this year, the co-goalkeeper of the year. As we've talked about, could have shared it with Romero, the freshman who he shares starts with. Really a unique situation at Georgetown to have basically every other game a different goalkeeper.
But you spend time with the team, Tom. You spend time with the defenders, and the impression you're left with is equal comfort with both keepers.
Yeah, and they understand the differences between Nicopolitis and Romero, the strengths that each of them bring, and it's communication. And a lot of it starts as
Rothrock, good ball. Riviere nearly gets to the end of it. And early we've seen the Hoyas picking on the right side of this Louisville defense of Cochran and Brazil.
Yeah, they've had some success down that left side for sure. And just to finish the thought on the goalkeepers, a lot of it is because of the junior center back, this man, Hope Gunn with the ball. When he had an injury late in the season for Georgetown, defensively, Georgetown just was not the same.
Here's the goal scorer, Montez. And now junior Sean O'Hearn. O'Hearn, switch of the play. Nealis, a good first-time touch to freshman Daniel Wu. A surprise winner of the center back position in preseason, but has held down that spot throughout the year.
Yeah, and Wu and Hope Gunn have really created a good partnership.
Sawatsky and Fonseca battle for it.
And those were the two guys we highlighted. Neither of them played earlier in the contest this year. You can see the burst from Fonseca as he gets in front of Zawatsky, and a good foul for Zawatsky there because Louisville had numbers.
Sawatsky from outside of Cleveland, Ohio, and Olmsted Falls, played for the Columbus Crew Academy system. Now Cochran, whose turnover led to the Georgetown goal. Dangerous ball, but offsides whistled on a frustrated Jay.
And Jay is frustrated. Wanted the ball a little sooner. Maybe one less touch from Cochran, but Jay is a dynamic attacking player, two-time All-ACC performer.
Jay, a native of Senegal, one of 10 international players on John Michael Hayden's roster.
Yeah, and I talked to Coach Hayden. He said, look, players around the world want to play on winning programs, and Louisville has certainly built a winning program, and they have some of the best facilities in college soccer.
Good win by Hope Gund. And then excellent skill by Haji in the midfield. Now it's Jay against O'Hearn. Little step over now, cut inside. Now finds Brazil against Rothrock. Brazil, dangerous ball near post. And the sure-footed Hope Gunn clears.
And you can see Louisville trying to isolate Jay on that right side.
The first foul of the game whistled on the Cardinals.
And for O'Hearn, the key is you don't have to win the ball off of him, but you have to slow Jay down as he's running at you to allow the center backs to get in good shape defensively in there. Louisville got a service, but Hope Gunn was in the correct position.
Headed on by Dotson into the path of Rothrock. Again, the Hoyas probing the left side of their attack. It's the right side of Georgetown's attack that's noteworthy because of this man, number 12, Dylan Nealis. Nealis, a combination play with Dotson, but Nealis, highly regarded by coaches, scouts, and teammates alike, certainly projects to be a strong player at the next level as well.
Yeah, he's a two-way player, right? Athletically can deal with you defensively, but puts so much pressure on you because of his ability to go forward as Rothrock gets taken down. And this is an area Coach Weiss talked about restarts being so important in this game.
So I think you see the footing there as you look at this challenge.
Yeah, a little divot as Jay kind of lost his footing. It's still a hard foul on Rothrock and a dangerous spot for Georgetown.
Georgetown scored from a fairly similar position in the first round against Pitt. It was Rothrock on the service.
Yeah, that ball was a little deeper, closer to the end line, but Rothrock really whipped that service in, getting the own goal. What a revelation Rothrock has been, the transfer from Notre Dame.
Hoyas got here by virtue of a 5-0 win against Pitt. Louisville going out to a difficult place to win on the road in California to beat highly regarded UC Davis 1-0.
And that was such a quick turnaround for Louisville, having to play the first round game against USF.
Rothrock. He'll want to have that one back. Georgetown gets nothing out of that chance here in the 11th minute.
And you think about that quick turnaround time. Coach Hayden really felt that when they got eliminated from the ACC tournament, it was going to be the longest stretch, inclusive of preseason, they had together as a team to train. And they focused on bringing the team together, refocused their fitness level, and felt like they were completely a different team once the NCAA tournament started.
Yeah, the ACC, the only conference that does that, they extend their tournament over 2 weeks. All other conferences within one. O'Hearn sure-footed. Can't quite connect with Riviere. And allows the Cardinals to begin a counter. Jay wants it on the right side. But Zawadzki forces the Cardinal backwards. Jay finally does get it. And then Polvera, shoulder charge.
Yeah, again, O'Hearn isolated defensively, forces Jay into the middle of the field, but Polvera late getting back and just kind of get that elbow up near the face.
And referees set the tone for how they're going to call the match in the first 15 to 20. Kadlicek calling it tight here.
Well, and I think you have to with the field conditions, right? Because guys can come in, a lot of slide tackles, and you want to make sure that you have control of this match.
Leo Getz serving in with the left foot. Dangerous ball. Getz is open again on the right side. First time service is dangerous. Flicked in wide.
Oh, and that was Fonseca. The skill of the Brazilian tried to flick that one behind his leg, and Nicopolidis not forced to make a save.
I think it might have been Daniel Wu there who got his foot on the ball. Indeed, it was the left foot of Wu.
And what skill from the sophomore from Louisville. It's rare that you highlight someone at this top of a broadcast that only has started 2 games, but the reason for that is the dynamic attacking ability that Fonseca has.
So the game settling in after the explosive start for the Hoyas. The 2nd minute unassisted goal by Jacob Montes, the Big East midfielder of the year, a product of the Portland Timbers Academy system, scoring his 9th.
And for Nicopolidis and the Georgetown defense on a field conditions like this, that restart, Georgetown has to get to the second ball. Louisville won the second ball, and then Getz found a huge pocket of space out wide.
Riviere against Getz. Now I'm going to say, calm possession. Sample playing that withdrawn midfield position today. Sample's a freshman from Illinois.
That's just great strength from Haji, dribbling across the box, not losing possession. That's so key for Louisville.
It's really interesting seeing Jay on the right side, Tom. He wants the ball every time. He likes the matchup against O'Hearn, I think.
He's like a wide receiver in the NFL. Thinks he's open every time. Loves his matchup, but he really is a dynamic player.
Jay wards off Polvera, now against O'Hearn. Sean forces him backwards, and then the double team comes from Rothrock, but Jay able to maintain possession. Now the service, Nicopolidis collects off the foot of Fonseca. And then Nicopolidis electing to play quickly.
And to keep some possession. Georgetown likes to have the ball, but you've seen Louisville have a couple of stretches here. And when you see Jay get isolated, it's not just the speed, it's great strength as well.
And you can already see, Tom, what's going to be asked of Polvera and Zawadzki defensively for Georgetown. We're going to have to cover a lot of ground, including offering that covering defender wide.
Yeah, and we talked with Zawadzki not playing in that matchup earlier in the season. He is so key to this Georgetown team because of the ground he covers. It's a great ball winner. And this year he's found times to go forward and join the attack.
Sample maintains possession to Cochran. Now O'Hearn out jumps Jay. Wu, good directional header to Zawadzki. Now Montez with space. The dangerous Jacob Montez, but Sample, good little right-footed challenge there, denying Georgetown's junior a chance to go forward. Winner of this match will take on the winner of Washington, who hosts Marshall. If Georgetown wins, that match will be played next Saturday here at Shaw Field. If Louisville wins, they will travel to the winner. Loose ball falls to Montez 35 yards from goal. And Sample again dispossesses.
Yeah, Sample really strong, good size, the freshman. A couple of times being isolated against Montez. He has stood Montez up.
Hopegund and Wu, central back pairing for 70% of Georgetown's matches this year. Polvera, ill-advised ball, easily cut out there by Cochran.
Yeah, and Cochran with all the experience. You talked about walk-on redshirt, but basically since that redshirt year, he's been a starter for this Louisville Cardinal team.
You see Sanchez grabbing his face as he and Wu collided. John Michael Hayden, Louisville's coach, first year. Again, replaced Ken Lola unexpectedly in the offseason. Hayden was an assistant on Lola's staff and has certainly gotten the job done here in year one.
Yeah, and he's been a big part of the recruiting of this team. He's been a big part of their trainings the last several years. And so really, he said the only difference for him this year is that he's the one making the final calls on who's playing. Other than that, he feels incredibly comfortable with this group because he knows them.
Zawadzki to Rothrock. Hall cuts inside. Service blocked by Jay. And O'Hearn will reset the Hoyas near midfield. 19th minute at Shaw. Montez goal still the difference as the Hoyas lead 1-0. Here is the goal scorer. Georgetown slowing things down here. Montez in space. Now Fonseca, the elusive Brazilian.
Yeah, Coach Hayden talking about him is just thrilled that he's come back to fitness. He's the one player that just adds a different dimension to this Louisville attack.
This Georgetown team among the nation leaders in shots attempted per game. Only one thus far, but that one found the back of the net. Early ball. Sanchez heads into a dangerous area. O'Hearn a partial clearance. But Haji and the Cardinal maintain possession.
Yeah, Haji's done a good job winning some balls and keeping it in the midfield.
Nealis calmly wins and then keeps possession through the freshman Dante Polvera. Polvera, a freshman in age but not in stature, an enormous figure, grew up playing in the NYCFC Academy system.
Yeah, and from moment one in preseason, everyone around this Georgetown program said he is the complete package. And interestingly enough, he doesn't start at the beginning of the season. He's really accepted the role. He has scored some fantastic goals on the campaign.
There's Fonseca and Jay, good combination. Jay against Hope Gund, and good pace there from Rio Hope Gund.
And strength, as we've talked about, Jay has both of it. But that's an example that you talked about with a center back for Georgetown having to come over and cover as Georgetown breaks out.
Rothrock cuts inside, and he's clipped by Sample.
Yeah, and Sample is going to find his way into the book for that. You talked about the tone being set from the referee. As Rothrock just tries to cut back, yeah. And Sample's legs are just kind of caught on Rothrock's.
I mean, it's certainly a foul, but for me, Tom, sort of incidental contact there. And a yellow card on a player like Sample, really challenging to deal with 70-ish minutes left in the match.
And the conditions of the field, having to keep his feet. We've talked about Sample winning the ball in one-on-one battles of Montez, but when Montez or Riviere is running at you, it's hard to keep your feet on these conditions. And I agree, that's a tough yellow card for Louisville.
Rothrock and Riviere confer. It will be Rothrock. Early ball. Still in play. And I think Riviere wanted that ball after he ran off it. Louisville did not send a player to guard him. Sanchez looking for the ball on the right. Instead, it's played behind Brazil, allowing Georgetown to get in better shape. Nothing. Georgetown leads. Direct ball, allowing Jay, who's moved more centrally, to receive from Sanchez, but that combination goes wanting.
Jay, 7 goals on the year for Jay, and you can see why. Louisville loves isolating him out wide.
Sample. Dangerous north-south ball, looking for space in between Hope Gunn and Wu. That's certainly something that Georgetown opponents have tried to exploit.
Yeah, the back shoulder run has caused that pairing some challenges this year. But they're Hope Gunn and Wu and Nicopolitis all on the same page. Here's why Wu has kind of found that spot. He's just so calm on the ball. There was some token pressure, but we saw Georgetown's goal came from token pressure, and Wu calmly plays out of it.
Rothrock layoff to Polvera. Montez, good first touch, and shoulders down. And play on as the strength of Haji on display.
Haji, the former Kentucky Player of the Year scholastically, and he's a good, young, talented player in that center midfield for Louisville.
Hayden and staff able to keep 7 players from the Commonwealth on the roster. Sample with some pressure applied. Finds the feet of Brazil. Now Haji, the switch of the play, ends up at the feet of Leo Getz. Getz, a Norwegian freshman who's earned that starting left back spot.
Yeah, and you saw the service he hit on that restart. Dangerous balls with that left foot as Haji breaks forward.
Haji left-footed shot, harmlessly wide, but you could see him get Polvera up in the air there, and with 21 minutes remaining, Georgetown to go to the bench for the first time. And Rothrock and Riviere will exit, replaced by freshman Will Sands and junior Jack Beer.
Yeah, and you talked about the NYCFC product, Polvera. Will Sands as well grew up in that program, and the freshman has really come on as the season has progressed for Georgetown.
If the name Sands sounds familiar, it is his brother, twin brother, James, who plays for the full side at NYCFC. Recently enjoyed a call-up to the U23 team alongside Georgetown alum JT Marcinkowski. Here's Jay against Sands. Sands dispossesses, and now he'll cut inside. And then Jay
And Dan, for me, yeah, that's more of a yellow card than the one that Louisville had before. But great defending by Sands. That's really hard to do in the first minute that you're on the field, dealing with Jay dancing in front of you on the sideline, and then Sands has a burst. That's the one thing that he adds to this program, and Jay finds himself in the book.
And for Sharif Jay, I think just a frustration foul there. And so 2 midfielders for the Cardinals already in the referee's notebook, Sample and Jay. Jack Beer, who won the Big East Tournament Offensive Player Award. His service easily cut out by the Cardinal. And now Polvera, poor ball, but Louisville cannot generate a counter. Dotson, an amazing first touch. Dotson against Cochran. Dotson inside. Dotson shot. Saved by Gelnovac. And fortunately did not give up a rebound as Beer was on the doorstep.
And that was from the similar angle where Montez scored, and it's Dotson cutting inside on Cochran again. Didn't hit it as well as Montez did, as Dotson probably trying to bend that to the far post as well.
So Gelnovac, a comfortable save as Georgetown, high pressure against Sample. It's Beer. Beer cuts to his left foot. Shot! Goal! Jack Beer! An electric left-footed shot into the side netting, and the Hoyas stake themselves to a 2-0 lead.
And for the second time today, it's pressure high up the field. Georgetown forces a turnover, and then Beer with a beautiful Cruyff and just a delightful finish into the far left post.
And the Georgetown bench excited by this, and Beer surprised everyone but his teammates with that Cruyff. Beer known for the Cruyff, and perhaps the second most famous user of the Cruyff in Georgetown program history, Keegan Rosenberry, using that frequently through the years, but Beer, similar style finish to Montez's.
Yeah, and it's funny. Some people in the stands were yelling for him to shoot, but just composed as Beer creates space with that turn, and he can hit shots with either foot, and he's equally versed with his right and left, and that is just a beautiful finish. And Louisville in a tough spot right now.
Louisville down two of their top players already in the referee's notebook. Fonseca nutmegs Zawadzki, and then a foul whistled.
Fonseca is showcasing his skill level, and there Sands thought he got all ball on that challenge. And that is good from the sophomore. And that is a good, clean challenge from Sands, but the referee has been consistent. Anytime you go to the ground, really, he's giving the call.
And on that replay time, you saw Zawadzki elect not to commit a foul, and I think processing that it would have been a yellow card.
Yeah, and then you have to trust the team defensive shape, and Sands from that wide left position does come over. But a dangerous restart here for Louisville. It's the senior Jay and the freshman Getz lining it up. Of course, Getz with that left foot.
It'll be Jay to hit over the net.
And that ball had some serious dippage as Jay hit that one well. When he first hit it, I thought it was well over. That ball dipped right at the end.
That was like a Scherzer slider, late in the zone dip.
Just falls out from under you. Nicopolitis will say he had that one covered the entire way.
Nicopolitis, native of Greece. Of course, his father, the goalkeeper on the most famous football team in Greece history, the winners of the European Championship. Nicopolitis has done some youth international duty. Last year, in fact, missed several weeks of the season. This year has been available for Georgetown throughout. Another turnover, that time Sample. Here's Polvera and Dotson down the left side. Dotson tries to return it, but it's read by Massey.
Georgetown is out of shape here.
Wu does a good job with Sanchez there to deal, but Sanchez gets the second ball, looping service. And it's a goal.
And Georgetown cannot believe as Fonseca scores off of the rebound.
And Georgetown, Tom, you said it, out of shape. Everyone looking at the linesman thinking that it was an offsides call as Sanchez hits a looping ball to Fonseca off one post, and then the finish over the outstretched body of Sean O'Hearn.
And that man is so key to Louisville. He scored the game winner in round 1. He had the assist in round 2 that propelled Louisville here, and then a huge goal for Louisville as Coach Weiss summons his senior Achara. And taking another look at this, this is about the 3rd time Louisville is elected to go with a scoop pass.
And we're not going to see an angle, no VAR for offsides here at Shaw Field. But Louisville doing what they needed to do, making this a 1-goal game. And we see here, it was, as Jay has it, now Hope Gund. So Fonseca, the goal scorer for Louisville. Beer and Montez, the goal scorers for Georgetown.
And that is a huge response for Louisville. As another foul in a dangerous spot for Georgetown.
That time it was Getz fouling Jack Beer. All kinds of action here at Shaw Field in what I'd call a light, uncomfortable rain right now. And clearly Getz getting in hard on Beer. And the Georgetown staff had several words with the assistant referee who's stationed just next to the bench.
Yeah, that was a close call for offsides, and Georgetown clearly thought Fonseca was offsides, but it was a brilliant touch, the first one that hit the post.
There's Jack Beer, who had Georgetown's second goal.
Goal scored by number 7.
As we enter the 31st minute. Beer, early ball to Dotson. Now Montez inside the box. Shot in traffic is blocked. Dotson flick header. Wide, ends back at the feet of Beer. Now Pulvera from distance. And that's way over the net. Manned by Jake Gelnevach.
Gelnevach can breathe a sigh of relief as his teammates find a goal to get back in this match.
Brian Weiss trusting the bench, and a good sign for the Hoyas as Achara enters the field. Nicked up, could not play in the pit match. But Montez, Dotson, and Pulvera all out, Tom, as McCune, Fisher, and Achara enter the pitch.
Yeah, and it's a huge advantage for Georgetown to have Achara come in off the bench. And Coach Weiss all year has relied on the depth of this team.
Number 22. Foster McHugh replacing number 7.
Sanchez late on O'Hearn there.
And Louisville has been a step late on several of these challenges.
Sanchez didn't like the call, but it was a pretty easy one for the referee. This game certainly has some intensity in it. It's interesting, we talk about Georgetown's depth. Louisville also known for depth, and we're just going to see the first substitution for John Michael. And that's going to be the goal scorer, Isaiah Jennings, from the match in Davis.
Yeah, Jennings has scored a goal in each of the first 2 NCAA tournament games for Louisville. And just as Georgetown has guys that come in and raise the level of play, Louisville does as well.
J.B. Fisher's first touch, the senior, into McCune. And Nealis knew he was in an offsides position. Miscommunication there. And it will allow Hayden to enter Jennings. And he'll replace Sharif J.
And Jennings with 4 goals on the year, 2 of them coming in the NCAA tournament.
So he'll be stationed wide on the right side of Louisville's attack. Will Sands, great skill to cut inside. And then Sands fouled by Jennings in similar fashion that he was fouled by Jay 10 minutes ago. And there you see, Tom, a little bit of the burst of Sands and the skill.
The skill and the burst, and Will Sands just adds a dimension on that left side. As the goal scorer for Louisville understands that Georgetown likes to get those restarts and play quickly, stands in front of the ball, has a little conversation, but allows his team to get their shape defensively.
Turnover there by Dylan Nealis, who's been unusually quiet here in the first half, Tom.
Yeah, Georgetown, from the beginning of this match, had some success down the left side. And one of the things, having played against Georgetown, Louisville understands that they're trying to stretch the field with Nealis on that right side and have done a very good job.
And you can see in the background of our screen right now, Elijah Amo, who's really an attacking left-sided player, is essentially shadowing Nealis when he gets high up the field.
Yeah, and he has gets out there as well, staying wide. A lot of times the left back sucks into the center of the field, but as Nealis gets called for a foul, Louisville not as compact with their width defensively, and it's because of Nealis, who, of course, had a 2-goal performance in round 2 of this NCAA tournament.
Nealis, one of 2 players in today's match who were on the Herman Trophy watch list. Emil Elveroth, the other, who's yet to feature in this match.
Yeah, Elveroth, the transfer from UNC Wilmington, had 11 goals last year. Hasn't had as much success as Louisville, just with 3 goals on the campaign, but a talented player, as is that man, Dylan Nealis.
Dylan, one of 3 Hoyas wearing the captain armbands. His classmate Achara, as well as junior Derek Dotson. And Achara whistled offsides there. How important, Tom, is it that Georgetown gets Achara back into the fold here and what they hope is a deep run?
Well, he has that burst that not many people in college soccer have, so defenses have to pay attention to where he is on the field. But for Georgetown all year, it's been the depth of their attacking players, a number of players with the ability to score goals and create chances. But no question, a welcome sight for Hoya fans having number 20 back on the field.
And the rain intensifying here at Shaw Field. It's kind of going in and out of downpour and light rain. We're in the downpour section of the first half right now.
A lot of umbrellas coming up in the stands.
Here's J.B. Fisher. Finds Sands. Sands will win a throw-in for the Hoyas. Good look at those who've braved the elements here this afternoon.
And if you haven't, we hope you're enjoying this broadcast.
Yeah, it's great work by our camera team out there today. They brave the elements every time. Team in the truck does a great job, though they're warmer.
Much more, and drier.
And drier. It's been great bringing you Big East soccer action all year long, men's and women's, on the Big East Digital Network. The ACC and the Big East, Tom, regarded as the top 2 conferences this season, really from the opening weekend of the season.
And a couple of Big East ACC matchups in this third round. You mentioned UVA getting the better of St. John's. Here it's Georgetown and Louisville. And then the final Big East team still alive will be traveling to Clemson tonight. So kind of the Big East ACC challenge here in round 3.
It is, and the ACC leads 1-0. And, Tom, that's a Providence team that you and I have both liked all year long. They gave Georgetown all they could handle, particularly in the first half of the Big East final, and that is a team that Craig Stewart has that certainly could go a long way in this tournament.
Yeah, Coach Stewart has experienced pieces, dynamic players in the attack, and they have a good belief that will be a great matchup against Clemson. Clemson, a team that loves sending players forward, bombing players forward, but Providence has the pieces where they can counter at speed against Clemson if Clemson sends all those numbers forward.
The seeded teams, 15-3 thus far in the tournament, the best performance by seeded teams at this stage in recent memory.
There's a look at the goal scorer of the regular season, Ryosuke, who has entered for Louisville, another attacking player off the bench. He got that game winner.
Early ball, Hope Gunn heads away. Getz will come and grab it. Trying to get it to his left foot, but Fisher read it well. Now Sands cuts inside. And then Sands is fouled by Fonseca.
Yeah, and that's about the third hard challenge that Sands has dealt with. And Fonseca not complaining about that one. The goal scorer for Louisville, only 6 games played on the year, but he is a difference maker for the Cardinal.
Jack Beer, who has Georgetown's second marker today. Ball squirts to McCune. And Zawadzki, dangerous ball. Gelnovac collects. You can see, Tom, the rain bordering on torrential right now.
Yeah, it was going to be a challenging day with the field, but it's coming in sideways. But the soccer's been good. Both teams have dealt with it.
Jennings picks up a loose ball off the back of O'Hearn. The dangerous Jennings slips a great ball through, and it was well read by Rio Hope Gund. And Jennings off the bench, showing his quality.
Yeah, and with the field conditions the way they are, huge advantage to attacking players running at defenders.
Georgetown out of shape here, but Fisher denies Louisville the counter.
Louisville's doing a very good job cleaning up balls in that defensive midfield.
Zawadzki dispossesses Jennings. Now it's Sands to the end line. Can't keep it in play. A heavy first touch from Will Sands.
Yes, Sands slides over the end line, and you're right. I actually thought he had a chance to hit that one first time. You don't have to necessarily go for goal there. You can just hit it hard across the box. Own goals, deflections, a lot of things. I thought he could have hit that first time right there across the goal mouth. And that was one of the things for Coach Weiss, getting to the end line and creating dangerous service back across the goal mouth to make that man, Gelnovac, deal with it.
And Tom, the pairing of Jack Beer and Will Sands have been dynamic off the bench here in the first half for the Hoyas. They entered together in the 24th minute.
Yeah, and that's what Coach Weiss has wanted all year long when he calls your number. It's not to keep the level, it's to pick up the level of play. And, of course, Beer rewards that decision with Georgetown's second goal.
Possession for Louisville through Sample. Now Jennings on the interior, finds Brazil. Cut out by Zawadzki. And a dangerous ball from Jack Beer.
Yeah, and it's one of these times Louisville's in a good stretch with possession, and Beer needs to understand that and keep possession for the Hoyas. It was an easy giveaway.
And Tom, an even match here, we'd have to say. Louisville has offsides whistled on Sanchez, or Ryosuke rather. And it looks like Jennings is down and will need to be attended to by the Louisville training staff. But other than Louisville's back, who's looked at shaky at times with the ball, it's been an even match. And as you said, Tom, given the conditions, pretty high quality.
It is, and for Louisville, you know, Jennings is one of those players that with these conditions can really make it challenging for defensive players. sure what happened to Jennings, but looks like he's holding the back of his right leg.
It'll be Cameron Wheeler, the redshirt sophomore from Louisville, who enters at the same time Riley Strassner does. Strassner will replace Will Sands. Strassner time, who gave Georgetown really good minutes in the Big East final and then again in the first round match against Pitt. Senior from Avon, Connecticut.
Spot minutes up top for Strassner, but when he's been playing as this season has gone on, it's been quality.
Nealis early ball, finds Achara. Achara's shot, and Gelnovac again collects calmly. It was Strassner there who would have pounced had there been a rebound.
Yeah, and that's just good goaltending from Gelnovac. Is that ball skipping across the goal mouth? Gelnovac, sturdy hands. Not giving up a cheap rebound.
Just 90 seconds remain. Strassner sees space turning in the midfield. So one quarterfinal match is set. That'll be Virginia hosting SMU. 3 more will be decided today. Will it be Louisville or Georgetown? And will it be Marshall or Washington as their opponent? No doubt many television and computer screens in the Pacific Northwest tuned in today on the Big East Digital Network. Washington program, consistently one of the top programs in the country, as Brazil collects out wide. Left-footed service, Nealis clears. Washington program led by Jamie Clark. Clark, the son of longtime Dartmouth and Stanford and Notre Dame head coach Bobby.
Yeah, and of course Brian Weiss played for the legendary Coach Clark, coached under him. Certainly Bobby Clark is instrumental in the success that Brian Weiss has had. It's Cochran showing off his skill out of the back.
12 seconds to go. Fisher has it.
10, 9, 8, 7,
His ball, though, dispossessed by Haji. And that's the way we'll head into intermission here on the Big East Digital Network. Georgetown, goals from Montez and Beer. Louisville, one from Fonseca to close the gap to 1. We'll be back to see who advances to the Final 8 after a break.
Here, we do what others don't.
Dream what others won't, driven to leap forward, determined to always give back.
Here, we work where giants have played, where the connection of work and ethic is made.
A diverse community possessed with a passion
To know and grow and go and show the world we are prepared to change it. Here, we ask what must be done, for in doing we learn and earn success.
and you can get there from here.
DePaul University. Here, we do.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
I'm on. Let's go to the feature from the Big East, diversity and the 40th anniversary.
When my time came to stop coaching, I was very fortunate that I didn't have to go cold turkey. I was able to start the Big East Conference, and we came across the sky like a meteor.
One recruiting year that they had that really turned everything around was the Ewan Mullen Pinckney recruiting year. It changed the face of Eastern basketball probably forever.
We just believed in ourselves and a lot of hard work on everybody's part.
Every March, Madison Square Garden is home to everything that is college basketball.
Put on your red shoes and dance the blues.
What? How's the weather? Yeah. It's snowing out. It's a blizzard, but we ain't gonna stop.
Put on your red shoes and dance the blues. The serious moonlight.
I think rightly there were questions early on about whether the Big East could withstand the test of reconfiguration, and I think if you were here, we've done that and more.
It's a monster league now. Last man standing, bring the flag. Tough to coach in, but great for spectators and great to play in. The march of the Big East goes on.
One of the positives about the sports business in the last couple of years, and in recent years in particular, has been the growing interest in seeing our industry become a more diverse and inclusive place.
I find it important for us to amplify the voices of those who have not traditionally had a seat at the table. As a Black African woman, my various social identities are always at the forefront of my daily interactions, from my first name, my culture, to where I'm from. So for me, diversity is about us celebrating our uniqueness as a society.
A lot of what happens in terms of diversifying workforce in the college world happens at the campus level. That's really where the core hiring takes place. The schools are responsible for hiring their directors of athletics, their staffs, their coaches. And so the conference is really a step away from that activity, but I think conferences can and should set a tone. And so in the Big East, we have tried to make diversity and inclusion a conference strategic priority. We have, for example, within our conference SAC group, designated a diversity and inclusion officer. D&I has become an important topic of discussion at SAC meetings. And our D&I officer is now included into the conference-wide diversity and inclusion working group that we've created.
I currently serve as the conference's Student Athlete Advisory Committee's Diversity and Inclusion Officer. This position is charged with ensuring that the conference carries out its commitment to inclusion for all. And I assist the conference staff in creating opportunities for student athletes from different backgrounds to come together to share and exchange ideas. I also work closely with the Big East Diversity and Inclusion Working Group.
You know, when I think about diversity, I think about the fact that diversity is a fact. When we think about inclusion, we think about inclusion being a choice. And I think if we can succeed in anything at the Big East is to impress upon everyone how inclusion isn't just a choice but a responsibility.
The Big East is committed to continuing the development of programs and initiatives that support diverse and inclusive environments for our student athletes, coaches, staff, and communities.
What can great minds do?
While at Seton Hall, I interned with the Superior Court of New Jersey, and that inspired me to go to law school.
I am a physics and civil engineering major, and I want to work on infrastructure in underdeveloped countries.
I'm the news director at one of the top college radio stations in the country.
I'm working with my professor on research that could help athletes during sudden cardiac events.
I started my own business, Classic Soccer Cleats, and I just sold it to a company in England.
Come see for yourself what great minds can do.
What is a Villanovan? In 30 seconds? Well, Villanovans aim high. Top 50 National University high. We think fast and stay connected. V's up. Villanovans think deeply, push boundaries, and go, go, go! Still with me? We climb corporate ladders and these ladders. This campus is our home, but you can find us almost anywhere. Villanovans have big hearts and solve even bigger problems, and we celebrate together. Ignite change, go Nova.
At St. John's University, our students believe, serve, explore, and achieve. A Catholic, Vincentian, metropolitan, and global university, we're at the heart of where lives are enriched. We provide a transformative education that goes far beyond the classroom. We aspire to do more. And for nearly 150 years, the St. John's story has been the story of New York City. We are New York's team. We are St. John's.
You have 4 years to help you figure out the meaning of life. Do you realize what a great gift this is?
I think of college as a moment of pilgrimage.
You'll go places you never thought you'd go. You'll meet people you never thought you'd meet. And you will experience things that are so rich that you can hold on to them forever.
Halftime here at Shaw Field on the campus of Georgetown University. An exciting game between the homestanding Hoyas and the visiting Cardinals of Louisville, 2-1. Dan Helfrich alongside Tom Greaser. And Tom, entertaining match. The Hoyas got on top early.
Yeah, it was a bright start for Georgetown as the Big East midfielder of the year, Jacob Montez, showcasing his skill with a delightful curling finish to get the Hoyas on the board less than 2 minutes into this match.
And the Hoyas weren't done, as you see Jack Beer. Now you see it, now you don't.
And a very similar finish. And then what a response from Louisville. It's Pedro Fonseca with his third goal of the season.
And a lot of shouts, Tom, for offsides. Well, we have the definitive view. There it is, onside.
Yeah, the timing of the run is perfect when this ball is played. As the ball's played right now, and you can see Daniel Wu keeping him onside. And what a ball played in by Louisville. A delightful touch right there. And then Fonseca doesn't give up on it. And Louisville finds themselves right back in this match.
The quality of the ball perhaps only exceeded by the quality of the camera work there as we look at the stats. Tom, in the first matchup of the year, the stats showed a very even game. Well, guess what? So did the stats at halftime.
Yeah, just more goals today, but each team with 6 shots. Both teams dealing well with the adversity of the weather, and we are going to be in for a treat of a second half.
Indeed, we will. The rain continues to fall on Shaw Field. Everything to play for. Who will find the final 8? Will it be Louisville or will it be Georgetown? We'll find out next.
Here, we do what others don't.
Dream what others won't. Driven to leap forward, determined to always give back.
Here, we work where giants have played, where the connection of work and ethic is made.
A diverse community possessed with a passion
to know and grow and go and show the world we are prepared to change it. Here, we ask what must be done, for in doing we learn and earn success.
And you can get there from here.
DePaul University. Here, we do.
Hallelujah.
And this is just one night. You should see what we do during the day. Marquette University. Be the difference.
What can great minds do?
While at Seton Hall, I interned with the Superior Court of New Jersey, and that inspired me to go to law school.
I am a physics and civil engineering major, and I want to work on infrastructure in underdeveloped countries.
I'm the news director at one of the top college radio stations in the country.
I'm working with my professor on research that could help athletes during sudden cardiac events.
I started my own business, Classic Soccer Cleats, and I just sold it to a company in England.
Come see for yourself what great minds can do.
2-1 the score as we near the start of the second half at Shaw Field. Dan Helfrich alongside Big East great Tom Greaser. And Tom, there is everything to play for. Giannis Nicopolidis and the Georgetown Hoyas protecting the 2-1 lead.
Yeah, and it was a great response for Louisville after conceding 2 early goals. A great response, and we've got one heck of a second half coming up.
There is Jacob Montez. He opened the scoring just a minute and a half into this match. Jack Beer followed 20 minutes later with a goal, but just as Georgetown started to get comfortable, it was a brilliant touch from Fonseca that brought the Cardinal within 1.
And just as Louisville did at the top of the game, Georgetown elects with that kickoff to play deep into Louisville territory, trying to press high up the field in these difficult conditions.
And if you were looking for a respite from the downpour at halftime, it didn't come. There's a high foot there from Sanchez, allowing Georgetown the restart at midfield. Again, the winner here faces the winner of the Washington-Marshall battle later this afternoon. Riviere, square to Montez. Georgetown returns its starting 11. Here's Nealis, who was quiet in the first half. He'll cut inside. He and Montez combine. Ball squirt to Polvera.
And that is so important for Georgetown to find the ball to Nealis.
And Rothrock will win an early corner for the Hoyas.
Rothrock does well. Coach Weiss felt that restarts would be a big factor today. Rothrock typically hits dangerous ones in.
Referee Mark Kadlachik having a word with the participants in the scrum in front of Gelnovac. It's a looping service.
Getz did well there as there's a late run from Polvera.
And now Brazil with a head of steam. It's the quick counter. It's Getz on the other end. Now Amo, and he'll win a corner in just 15 seconds after a Georgetown corner. Louisville will have their first corner of the match.
And you can see the athleticism of this Louisville side. 20 seconds to get down the field and win a corner kick, force Georgetown to defend.
Look at Carlos Sanchez.
One of the international players and a transfer.
Headed away by Zawadzki. Sanchez, a gorgeous assist on Louisville's first goal, and then quick feed against Riviere. And then the double team comes from Rothrock. Unusual to see those two on the same side. Now it's a clip ball in and headed away by Hope Gunn as Louisville applying pressure here in the 48th minute.
And Sanchez just with great skill, and they will win another corner kick.
So Louisville went the entire first half without a corner, has two, just 3 minutes into the second half. And a lot of height, including that man, Luca Massey.
And Massey, 3 goals on the campaign, a big target for Louisville. And the freshman Getz, with that dangerous left foot, will whip an in-swinger in here.
And the sideways rain comes down at Shaw. Whipping ball it is, and headed away by Dante Polvera. Then a left-footed drive through traffic is wide.
And that was Jay getting onto that second ball. Several times today, Louisville gets to these second balls, and Jay, that is so dangerous. Deflections, all sorts of things can happen. Louisville's senior attackman has a go from about 20, 22 yards.
Daniel Wu relieves the pressure a bit. And then Dotson concedes a throw against Massey. 2 highly regarded players, Massey, the French senior, Dotson, the Chicagoan, the junior. Here's Zawadzki, good feet. Now to Polvera, he'll leave it for Rothrock, a shot, big save, rebound! Goal, it's Paul Rothrock! And the junior makes it 3-1! Gelnovac saved it, and then Rothrock deposited the rebound.
But that is all Sean Zawadzki creating that play, and just a great understanding from the freshman Polvera as Zawadzki plays this one across. And what a brilliant save from Gelnovac. But on the rebound, Rothrock does enough to stake the Hoyas to a 2-goal lead.
So Zawadzki to Polvera to Rothrock, midfielder to midfielder to midfielder. And the Hoyas reclaim their 2-goal advantage.
Such a bright start for Georgetown, scoring within the first 5 minutes of both halves. And Georgetown has started the second round game against Pittsburgh on the front foot. They started this game scoring early, and they've had a very good start to both second halves here in the NCAA tournament.
And midfielders have accounted for all 4 goals in the match today. Montez Beer and Rothrock for the Hoyas, Fonseca for the Cardinals. And the hill for John Michael Hayden and the Cardinals just got steeper. Here's Jay cutting inside. Drive from distance, saved by Nicopolidis.
Oh, and Sharif Jay showing all of his skill right there, and what a save for Nicopolidis.
And in these conditions, smart by Nicopolidis not to try to catch that ball. And a goal kick as Louisville not getting anything out of their third corner. Furious action here at Shaw Field.
What an entertaining match we've had here at Shaw Field. And you're right, it is a big hill that Louisville finds themselves in, but they have the quality attacking pieces to get themselves back into this match.
But Tom, that third goal for Georgetown, both of your twin sixes finding themselves basically in the penalty area combining to score a world-class goal.
Yeah, and it's Zawadzki's understanding. We've talked about how much ground he covers defensively, but a couple of times a game, he finds himself in a very good spot in the attacking third, and a lot of it is because he's winning the ball and then creating the chance like he did there.
And now, Tom, I think you'll see the experience of Georgetown on display here with a 2-goal lead.
Yeah, it's not just about killing the game in the last 5 minutes. Nicopolidis smartly taking his time, and Georgetown, for the first time that we've seen really today, looking to play out of the back.
Be the last time after that turnover. Wu able to clear. There's Leo Getz. Zawadzki dispossesses Haji. And intensity still very high on both benches and in the stands here.
And you talk about that hill Louisville has to climb. Of course, only one team all year has scored 2 goals against Georgetown. It was in the Big East tournament.
That was the Butler Bulldogs.
Georgetown advanced in that.
Here's Dotson's onside. Dotson's drive is blocked, and Georgetown will win a corner as the action goes end to end.
It's Derek Dotson, Georgetown's leading scorer.
Oh, and they'll say that there's an extra deflection off of Dotson.
Dotson, one of the smartest players, soccer IQ-wise on this team. He's a great understanding how the game should be played, as does Louisville's goalkeeper, of course, growing up in that household. A legendary coach at UVA.
Hope Gunn wins the header, but it's into the path of Amo.
Amo, a local product, played club soccer for Bethesda, coming back home for this clash.
Good piece of defending by Sean O'Hearn. Now he'll find Dotson's head. Haji for Louisville. Haji, another of those local products, a sophomore from out of Louisville, Kentucky.
And Haji listed as a forward on the score sheet, but he has just been covering ground in that center midfield.
Montez pivots out of traffic. Now Massey resets the Louisville attack. Getz cuts inside against Riviere. And then Fonseca would like to have that ball back. Rothrock into the path of Dodson. Late run coming from Montez. The nutmeg comes and play on. Dodson can't believe it, as Brazil wins the challenge.
And this game starts to open up more. That allows this man, Jay, to have more space to run at players.
Jay, step over, inside, but good covering defense from Daniel Wu there.
Wu and Zawadzki both in a good spot. And Jay has to be careful. Jay has to be careful. He's already on a yellow card.
As you see in the out-of-town scoreboard, Tom, the Gauchos going into Bloomington and giving Indiana all they can handle. I talked about the record of the seeded teams, 15-3 coming in today. UCSB, one of those three, defeating highly touted St. Mary's. And Dotson and the Hoyas win a corner. And Tom, we talked a little bit in the pit game. ACC, 10 teams in the tournament, etc. Georgetown in the spring and a little bit in the regular season sees a lot of the ACC teams not intimidated at all.
Yeah, Georgetown has played against them the last 2 springs as Riviere will hit this one in with his left foot.
Dangerous ball. Nealis heads over the net. He'll get whistled for a foul as he climbed on the back of Gelnovac.
Yeah, and Gelnovac has good command of his box, comes out strong. This is a looping service, allows Gelnovac to come out as Nealis climbs the back of a couple defenders there. And of course, Georgetown had the home and home against this Louisville team the last 2 years.
Lost both of them.
Louisville got the better of them last year, playing a man down in the second half and then scored a late goal. You look at this, the Hoyas, 8 goals through their first 2 games. It's the most in program history to this point. And it's been a prolific offense all year long for Coach Weiss.
Line-breaking ball finds Jay, and then Nealis dispossesses at the end line.
Yeah, and 2 seniors, interestingly, Louisville electing to bring Jay to the left side at the start of the second half.
Georgetown extending its advantage to 3-1, restating its 2-goal advantage. Goals have come from Montez, Beer, and Rothrock. The lone marker for the Cardinals came from Fonseca. Good switch from Jay to Amo. Return pass, he's in! Huge save by Nicopolitis!
And what a big-time save for the goalkeeper of the year in the Big East. Nicopolitis comes up huge as Amo was in a great combination. It's that man Fonseca again. But brave off of his line.
You can see in the background of the picture, there were several Louisville attackers unmarked in the middle, wanted Amo to slip it square, but that would have been a difficult decision in the moment.
And that play was very similar to what we've seen from Georgetown. A switch of the field, isolating a play, and then a combination play at the top of the box.
The rain continues to fall on Leo Getz and the Cardinals, who must find at least 2 goals to keep this advantage, or to cut into this Georgetown advantage. It'll be Getz to hit the in-swinger. Dangerous ball, flicked around the box and cleared off the line by Riviere.
That's why you have someone on the post, as Louisville's serve is causing problems as Montez and Rothrock break out.
Now Dotson against Brazil. He has runners. And Rothrock out-muscled there by Jay. Now Fonseca tries to nutmeg Wu, and Daniel stands him up.
And Fonseca pushing higher up the field now for Louisville. We talked about his versatility.
And Tom, this game is not finished with its chances.
2 teams that love going forward and creating quality chances.
Here's O'Hearn. Sean slips the ball to Rothrock, who's onside. Shot trickles wide. And it was deflected. Great combination play between O'Hearn and Rothrock.
Yeah, and Rothrock scored that 3rd goal, but gets deep into the box. And Gelnovac was wrong-footed there with that deflection.
And Rothrock and Riviere will exit, and it's freshman Aiden Rocha getting the call here, Tom, along with Will Sands, 2 freshmen being trusted by the staff here in the 60th minute of the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament.
And it'll be one of those hitting this corner.
Sands to the back post, and Gelnovac, strong hands to collect.
And Rocha is a hard-nosed player. You talked about the trust that Coach Weiss has with his bench. Really important minutes.
O'Hearn who's defended well throughout this second half. Now Dotson looking for Montez.
Just well read by the experienced Massey as Getz finds some time.
And Tom, at what point does Coach Hayden go to the bench, look for Elveroth, look for Ryosuke, something to change the dynamic of this match?
Yeah, Ryosuke, of course, scored against this Georgetown team, a talented player. And we also saw Jennings come out in the first half with an injury. Didn't get a report on his availability in the second half, but he's certainly another one of those attacking players for John Michael to call on.
Outswinger this time, headed away by Wu. And Tom, Wu has been really, really strong in the air and in his one-on-one battles throughout this match.
Yeah, because those balls being whipped in by Louisville are dangerous.
Gelnovac. Strong ball there, allowing Louisville to maintain possession. But the Cardinal are staring at a 2-goal deficit that if they cannot overcome will end the season and obviously the Cardinal careers of several players. Nealis switch fortunate to end at the feet of O'Hearn there. Now it's Sands, the dynamic attacker to the end line. Couldn't get a lot on that cross, and Cochran begins the Louisville counter.
Yeah, and Louisville, Jay switching sides, so they're trying to do everything with their shape, get players in different positions as Amo on the ball now has come over to the left.
And it was Amo who had a great opportunity to have the Georgetown deficit, but Nicopolitis said not today.
And Dan, it's interesting for Coach Weiss. He has such trust in the depth of his team, but it's really the attacking players where that depth lies. And so with a 2-goal lead here in the second half, be curious to see how many guys he calls on.
I'm going to give you a hint. It's going to be more than a couple. And just as we say that, he dials the number 11 and the number 13 for the next substitute. Those are the numbers of Beer and Strassner. And again, a composed play with the head of Daniel Wu.
And this is the third time Nicopolitis burns 10 or 15 seconds by just letting the ball run to the end line.
Nealis with a burst. First time today we've seen Dylan at full speed. Cuts inside Brazil and then is tackled hard from Getz.
And you're right, that is the first time Dylan Nealis was able to run at players with speed and cuts inside and gets with a clinical foul outside the box.
I might call it a cynical foul as opposed to a clinical foul.
Both work.
But regardless, the Hoyas with a dangerous opportunity, and that is the skill set of Dylan Nealis on display.
Yeah, and Louisville has done a tremendous job dealing with the runs he likes to make, and Georgetown struggled to find the ball to get to him.
Montez to hit. Georgetown has sent all its target players forward.
This is a deep line by Louisville.
Louisville double teaming as Nealis, as you can see near the near post here. Dangerous ball headed just wide.
I don't know if that was Dotson or Wu that had that chance, but this is a good ball by Montez. It was Wu. And of course, it was Wu late in the game against Louisville that had a chance to win it on a similar header.
And that was one time I think he expected that to hit Dotson's head, and by the time it got to him, positioned the wrong way. As Jack Beer and Strassner enter the field of play. Hope gunned a strong aerial win. Tom, you can't say enough about the aerial dominance today of Georgetown's backs.
Yeah, with how Louisville likes to play, putting pressure as Fonseca finds some space.
Ends up at Getz's feet. Tricky little ball to the back post. Now Jay with it. Nutmeg at the top of the box. Fonseca still with it. Across the box, saved and cleared by Wu. Fonseca giving Georgetown's defense all kinds of problems.
Pedro Fonseca with all sorts of skill in a tight spot.
Yeah, this is the Joga Bonita here for the Brazilian. And it's Daniel Wu in the right place at the right time. And that started with a heavy touch by Nealis in his defensive third. Louisville applying pressure, trying to make this an interesting game.
And Georgetown defending with numbers, but you can see how dangerous this Louisville side is.
Good feet from Polvera, and then concedes possession.
And that frustrates Georgetown's bench because Louisville is applying a heavy dose of pressure right now. So for Georgetown, you cannot give the ball away so cheaply.
And Tom, in this, and the whistle, foul on Rocha near the corner flag. Rocha can't believe it. I was about to say is in this moment, Tom, with a 3-1 lead, Brian Weiss has 4 freshmen on the pitch right now with Wu, Polvera, Sands, and Rocha.
And he trusts this team from top to bottom, and he's not going to let, you know, a third-round game in the NCAA tournament change his philosophy.
Gets dangerous ball, headed away by Zawadzki. Quality of the service from Getz has been very high throughout. Here's Getz cutting inside. Right-footed service, not his preferred foot.
And another slight change from Louisville is pushing Getz higher up the field right now.
So Georgetown absorbing quite a bit of Louisville pressure, but enjoying a 2-goal lead. O'Hearn, good piece of one-on-one defending. Now it's Sands. Sands with a head of steam, crossing midfield. And then finds Polvera, the 2 academy teammates combining. Good composure here for the Hoyas. Out the right side, it's Nealis. Strassner with it. Now Beer. Polvera's going to have a chance. Oh, and he's dispossessed.
There are a couple of opportunities at the top of the box. I thought Strassner could have taken his half chance.
Montez Beer and Rothrock, the Georgetown goal scorers. Fonseca, who's been electric, the Louisville goal scorer.
And this possession is important for Georgetown as they were absorbing a lot of what Louisville was throwing at them. And to deal with an athletic side, a dynamic attacking side, keep possession, keep it away from them, burn the clock off.
And Strassner in the last 4 minutes has offered some good hold-up play, the more target-oriented striker. That was no doubt the instruction he received from Klakota while entering. Here's Polvera, now wide to Sands. And that early ball harmlessly out of play.
And it's that service that Coach Weiss, prior to this contest, was asking for quality on that last ball across the goal mouth.
Tom, I talked about the youth movement for the Hoyas a moment ago. Well, now freshman exits, senior enters as J.B. Fisher enters the field of play.
Number 8, J.B. Fisher, replacing number 17, Dante.
Nealis, some token pressure from Fonseca. Pedro looks a little gassed right now, but if you're John Michael Hayden, hard to find him a couple minutes of rest.
Well, and only playing 6 games this year, and the minutes he's played, he's worked hard to get himself back into form, and you can see how important he is to this Louisville side. His first-year coach, John Michael Hayden, hoping his team
And Tom, here's another one of those little moments. Foul occurred at 19:52. Georgetown doesn't restart play for 20 seconds, even though they had players stationed right there as Nicopolitis off his line. Another foul on the far side of Shaw Field gives another moment for Georgetown to restart play. And Tom, you look at the ACC, who had 5 teams alive entering this weekend. 5 teams disappeared entering this weekend.
And one of those teams that disappeared was the Pitt Panthers, who ran into this Georgetown juggernaut last weekend. But the ACC, as you said, widely regarded as the best conference this year, and the Big East not far behind.
Nealis sends Strassner near the corner. Double team coming, but Riley enjoys that. And again, the calm pressure, the experience of the Hoyas on display. Fisher dispossessed. And now Fonseca with space. But then Fisher does a good job to get back after his turnover. And now Cochran finds Getz. Leo gets the Norwegian freshman early ball. Sure-footed clearance by Wu. And then an outstanding ball by Zawadzki finds Will Sands. Louisville gets back defensively, but Sands with a head of steam step over. Right-footed shot, just wide. Will Sands, the step over, then the right-footed blast, and the freshman thought he had scored Georgetown's 4th.
And he's so dynamic, typically going to the left. Louisville understands that on the scouting report, and Gelnovac with a good touch there as Will Sands almost beats Gelnovac but earns a corner kick. And all year, that's really the first time we've seen Sands cut inside. It's typically to the left to the end line.
Jack Beer, who has a goal today. Outswinger. Headed off the crossbar, straight down. Rebounds there. Still in front. Chaos in front of Gelnovac's net.
As that was Nealis rising up in a crowd.
And Georgetown centimeters away from a 4th goal on multiple occasions. And in the madness, you see Gelnovac, an amazing save, and then Hope Gund and Wu both have chances. Hope Gund's not going to like the way that one looks on replay.
And that's Getz, who's been instrumental for this Louisville side down on the end line.
And we talked moments ago, Tom, about ACC teams in the tournament. Well, Georgetown, one of 2 teams still remaining. As we talked about earlier, Providence against Clemson later this evening. Butler, a difficult loss at home to West Virginia. And St. John's going to Charlottesville last night and losing to the better Virginia side.
Yeah, but what a year for Coach Mazur at St. John's. Got that program back to where Big East supporters think of St. John's being. And, you know, frankly, the Big East had a difficult year last year in getting teams into the tournament. Did a much better job of out-of-conference scheduling and then getting results out of conference.
And St. John's, like Georgetown, 2 ACC foes to start their tournament. St. John's defeating Syracuse before falling to the talented Cavaliers. And certainly local D.C., Maryland, Virginia soccer watchers would love to see a Hoya Cavalier battle. But for that wish to come true, Tom, it would take it all the way to the national final.
A lot of soccer to be played before now and then.
Tom, for the first time today, we're going to see the number 10 for Georgetown in the gray. That's graduate student Ethan Lochner.
Yeah, and you talked about Weiss trusting his freshmen now. Two of them, Rocha and Sands, who just had that chance denied by Gelnovac coming off, and it's a lot of experience with Lochner coming on, the fifth-year senior.
It's also a lot of trust, as we said, at the bench. I mean, Georgetown's two most decorated attacking players, really their three most decorated attacking players, Montez, Achara, and Dotson, all out for extended portions of this second half.
And it's what Georgetown has done all year long. It's a good layup by Beer.
Strassner finds Rothrock. Paul, who has Georgetown's third goal, peels away to Beer. And Tom, you're right. You talked earlier, some coaches, regardless of the sport, change the philosophy come, quote, tournament time. For Coach Weiss and the Hoya staff, it's continued the philosophy, whether that's the rotating goalies, whether that's running out 20 players in a match as they have today.
And you've got to go with what got you here. And for Coach Weiss, it has been, we talked about it, the deepest team in school history.
And then Sanchez fouls Lochner. Ethan happy to get his jersey a little muddied here. And that's a frustrated foul there.
It is, and it's one that allows time to continue to burn for the Georgetown Hoyas.
Georgetown has advanced to the College Cup once in program history. It was a memorable December afternoon where they defeated the University of San Diego. Will that same moment present itself in 6 days? Ball squirts past everyone and ends up at the feet of Fisher, and the senior who played some youth soccer at the Paris Saint-Germain Academy. Wins a throw-in for Georgetown.
And another experienced player is Strassner and Fisher. Real quality minutes late in the second half off the bench for Coach Weiss.
O'Hearn cutting inside. Georgetown's had it in Louisville's end for more than 2 minutes here. Rothrock wins another throw-in. And it's been a masterclass in the management of a two-goal second-half lead by that duo of Connor Klakota and Brian Weiss. And I think we saw the Klakota eye roll there.
But it's also the maturity of this side. And it started right after the third goal. Nicopolitis set the tone as the ball played back. He doesn't pick it up. He allows precious seconds to run off the clock. And then Georgetown, to this point, has weathered kind of the best attack that Louisville's had here in the second half.
And a delayed whistle there for a foul. You could hear John Michael Hayden calling for that. He wanted the chance to hit this restart in and send the cavalry forward.
And some of the players were wanting for it to be played on, but you're right. With the service that Getz has been providing today, this is a good opportunity. And Coach Weiss talked about restarts. It's not just about your quality, it's about defending them. And Louisville, with another chance here.
Flicked on and wide. That's the ball, and it's the header that Louisville wanted there, but no one could get on the second one.
Yeah, Fonseca was trying to get in behind, probably offsides. Nicopolitis has some shoe issues.
Look at the size. 13 and a half.
I had 13.
A lot of colors in the arsenal for Giannis today.
Really an important save in the second half from Nicopolitis, a great shot stopper.
No doubt. Many on the islands of Greece enjoying the action today on the Big East Digital Network.
Yeah, and it's been a great compliment with the freshman Romero and Nicopolitis. That can go sideways quickly. Both guys think that they can play, but Coach Weiss has both of those goalkeepers bought in completely.
I'm sure his teammates are bought into this 90-second wardrobe break. He's got long sleeves on. Here's Rothrock. Now O'Hearn. Strassner's onside. Beer wants it. Ball was late, though, in delivery. And now a foul whistled on Strassner.
Yeah, Strassner's done a good job with hold-up play, but you're right. That was a good run from Beer, and if that ball's played early, Jack Beer find himself in a dangerous spot.
And then Sample fouls. It was Massey actually fouls Strassner. Riley appreciated the offer for a help up, but declined it.
Just hard challenge right at midfield. Strassner has done his job again.
And Luca Massey, who's had a terrific collegiate career, unless there's a dramatic series of goals by Louisville in the last 10 minutes, will play his last college soccer match today. And Brian Weiss, after about a 17, 18-minute absence for Montez and Dotson, will ask those two highly decorated attacking players to finish this match off. And Montez really set the tone today, Tom, taking the ball off the foot of Cochran and finishing and past Gelnovac in just the second minute.
Yeah, it's just quality. There's been quality all year from Montez, and rightly rewarded as the midfielder of the year in the Big East.
Number 9, Derek Dotson, replacing number 13, Riley Strassner.
Montez joined by Beer and Rothrock in the goal-scoring column today. Fonseca, the Louisville tally. Louisville eliminated in the final 8 a year ago against Michigan State. As Rothrock with a head of steam and decides to pull it back. Then good skill there from Montez. And a yellow card will be issued to Rioske.
Rioske's not been able to find the ball today for Louisville. He's fortunate Montez isn't a step closer. But with the quality of Montez and Rothrock, this is a dangerous opportunity.
And this would be the last match for Rioske as well, Tom. Always one of the hard things that you're dealing with in the aftermath of these games. The seniors who get to put on the uniform for the last time.
Yeah, and one of them just re-entered the match, Sharif J., who's had a great career at Louisville. Of course, they're leading goal scorer this year.
It will be Montez to strike. Attempt on goal, and it's in! Jacob Montez puts the exclamation point on this 4-1 Georgetown advantage. The junior says, I can smell the Elite Eight.
And it's Montez who started it all for the Hoyas, and he finished it with that strike. Beats Gelnovac to the near post, and Gelnovac, who's had such good command of his box. That ball just got on him quickly to the near post.
Montez' second direct free kick goal of the season. Also scored on the road against St. John's.
A yellow card has been issued to the Cardinals, number 10, Kino Rienske.
Dotson with it. Georgetown attacking in waves as they know their ticket to next week is punched. Rothrock in. Rothrock shot. Goal! It's Paul Rothrock! And Georgetown in consecutive matches has tallied 5 times at Shaw Field.
Can you believe this Hoya attack? 5 goals against Pittsburgh, 5 against Louisville. What a performance from the Georgetown Hoyas.
It's Montez to Rothrock one more time, and Paul Rothrock, just 1 goal entering today's match, has number 2 and number 3. And we saw in the first round, Tom, Rothrock had his best match in several months. It is continued today, and Georgetown 10 goals against the ACC against just 1 against.
And Coach Weiss couldn't have dreamed it up any better.
And, you know, we talked about it. Weiss giving Montez and Dotson a longer breather than normal, and then Montez with a goal and an assist within 90 seconds of re-entry.
Hoya's goal scored by number 3, Paul Rothrock, assisted by number 7.
And now, Tom,
Jacob Montez,
with
and number 9,
emotions heightened, this has been a physical game. It's a wet field as Amo cuts inside. Ball squirts to back post and then cleared by Fisher. You'd think maybe, Tom, Weiss will try to get some of these players off as Montez dribbles at speed. Goes wide to Dotson. Derek would love to get in on the act. Early ball just past Montez.
Montez looking for a hat trick in this 3rd round contest.
It's a terrific ball from Dotson. And Montez had a chance there to get the sole of his right foot on it, but 2 goals from Montez, 2 from Rothrock, a left-footed curler from Jack Beer, and the Fonseca tally, the only positive for the afternoon from Louisville, who's been outclassed, particularly in the second half, by this Georgetown team.
Yeah, there was a stretch in the second half. Louisville was only down 3-1, where they had about 10 minutes. Georgetown weathered that storm, dealt with the attack, and then the depth again, getting Dotson and Montez extended breaks, and they come in with incredibly fresh legs late in this contest.
Montez slips Rothrock through. Runs coming from Lochner and Dotson, but the service not there from Rothrock in the moment. And Tom, almost from moment 1 in this season, you could tell there was a difference between this Georgetown team and a series of 6 or 7 consecutive high-quality teams, and that was the dynamism and commitment to the attack.
Yeah, it's the possession with purpose. Coach Weiss's teams have always had incredible possession, but a lot of times they won't go for the jugular. They're not going to try, as Rothrock gets a nice ovation and congratulatory high fives from his teammates. But this Georgetown team senses blood and will attack you with speed. And it's actually very similar. Louisville will attack you with speed, and this Georgetown team has been clinical all year with their finishing.
Well, we showed a graphic midway through the second half that 8 goals set a new mark for Georgetown's first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. I'll raise you 2 more. The 85th minute. This dominant performance by the Hoyas. And Tom, it'll be 2 unfamiliar foes that Georgetown will face regardless of the outcome later today in Washington, as Dotson early ball across. It's a Washington team that's been highly ranked for most of the last 4 or 5 years, It's a Marshall team that's burst onto the scene this year. Nealis finds McCune. Foster cuts to his right foot. He'll go wide. Dotson's onside. And Derek maturely to the corner flag.
As Montez was making a run to the near post looking for the hat trick, I'm not sure he liked the maturity level of his junior classmate.
But in either case, Tom, it's a week, rather 6 days, the game will be on Saturday, to get ready for very unfamiliar opponents.
It is, but if you're this Georgetown team, it's taking care of what you need to take care of. We've seen today a great response against the only team to have beaten them this year.
Elsewhere, Indiana and UCSB still scoreless with just a few minutes left in regulation in Bloomington.
Of course, John Michael Hayden won back-to-back national championships at Indiana in his playing days.
In Indiana, the school that prevented Brian Weiss from winning his first national championship in 2012 in Hoover, Alabama.
Wow, that's amazing for Georgetown. Not scored more than 4 goals in any other NCAA tournament game, and now they're sitting at 5 in each of the 2 this year.
Senior to senior, Strassner to Nealis. He'll return the favor, rally from the top of the box shot, and Gelnovac in good position to collect that one. And the redshirt junior who's had such a great season, but there was no goalie in the country, Tom, who is going to deny this Hoya attack on this day.
Yeah, that's right, and it's a Hoya attack that comes at you in waves with different pieces. And going back to that graphic, 4 goals in the NCAA tournament, of course. It's one of the best single-game performances in school history when Steve Newman scored a hat trick against the University of Maryland in that semifinal in 2012.
The Nets that day manned by Tomas Gomez. McCune battles for it here in the 88th minute. And Strassner's onside. Dangerous ball and well won by Massey. And Tom, as long as you're available, I'm going to come back next Saturday at noon, same time, same place.
Couldn't think of a better way to celebrate my second oldest birthday.
Happy birthday to Emma next week. Delightful player in her own right. Rioske with a head of steam. And Tom, what you hope, it's such fond memories of that 2012 Elite Eight game against San Diego. The weather was perfect. As we see Luis, the longtime director of Shaw Field and Harbin before it, and you hope that you get a similar weather situation. There were more than 4,000 that surrounded Shaw Field that day. And I mean surrounded. All the fences you see in the background right now. And you hope that in 6 days you could see a similar atmosphere.
Yeah, this game of Thanksgiving weekend is always a challenging one. Students not on campus. The local community, though, in previous years has done a good job of coming out to this weekend's match, but the weather causing many to stay inside with some hot chocolate, enjoying the sights and sounds on the Big East Digital Network.
Yeah, the umbrellas per capita today, quite high. But the goals per capita in this NCAA tournament, the highest of all time, as Fonseca fouls Fisher. And that Tom Greaser will allow the seconds to tick off. And Tom, what is left to say about the way this Georgetown team has dominated the postseason?
There's not much. It's just actually been such a mature start to each half that they've played in. Up 3-0 against Pittsburgh, I commented to Coach Weiss, I was so impressed with how the team came out of the locker room. And you saw it again today as Montez, who has been sensational all year for the Hoyas, with a brace.
A brace for Montez, a brace for Rothrock, a goal from Jack Beer, a bunch of great saves from Giannis Nicopolidis, and a ticket to next Saturday at Shaw Field on the Big East Digital Network on YouTube Live at noon, where the Hoyas will host the winner of Washington or Marshall. But for now, that will do it from Shaw Field. For Tom Greaser, I'm Dan Helfrich, saying congratulations to Georgetown next week for the Final Four.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to the Hoyas, who will compete next Saturday at noon right here on Shaw Field.